Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today I want to talk to you guys about this Hollywood writer's strike. Apparently, Hollywood has shut down. I mean, it's pretty much shut down mainly because the writers and the actors are all on strike. And this is interesting to me because labor disputes are an interesting economic dynamic. I actually will say that just before I begin, just to kind of let you guys know, I tend to support the unions a little bit more than the corporations because I believe that the workers in America have kind of gotten a raw deal. I don't feel that they get the same opportunities that some of these CEOs get. Some of these CEOs are making unreasonable amounts of money, and also even as a person who's owned stock in some of these companies and I've benefited financially, it's still one of those things where you got to be fair. Now, someone asked, Sade is asking, are you back on Twitter? I never left Twitter. I am on Twitter now. Instagram, my main Instagram page, that's still gone. But I would, y'all know me. I'm a thinker, so I'm strategic, so I keep a backup. If you want to follow me on Instagram, just go to the Black Financial Channel. It's called the Dr. Boyce Watkins Black Financial Channel. So I decided that rather than looking at losing the Instagram page as a setback, I see it as an opportunity to come back better. So the Black Financial Channel, I'm going to focus a lot more mainly on financial topics. I'm going to do a lot of things that tell you about certain investments that are happening and opportunities in the market. So if you'd like to follow me at the Black Financial Channel, feel free to look for that. Also, a great way for us to remain connected in a way that is not connected to any of these social media platforms is to text the word stock to 31996. If you text the word stock to 31996, then I will send you a copy of my $5 a day investing plan that can take any family from poverty to wealth in one generation. I have a PhD, so I'm qualified to create this. And also, I will send you a training on how to make money without working, among other things. Now, give me a yes. Give me a yes if you can hear me. Also, shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're from. And I'm going to read some of your comments as we get started. Tonia Patillo, I have seen your name, Miss Patillo. Oh, Tonia, your husband, you and your husband come to class. Thank you for your commitment to be one. We love you, the Patillo family. Well, I love the Patillo family. Let me tell you, the Patillo family is y'all. I mentioned that you guys are a dream come true because this is what I believe is going to happen. I believe that we are going to rise. We're going to rise as families. We're going to rise in a way where the Black man and the Black woman are rising hand in hand. Give me a yes if you see this and you agree with this. We're going to be rising through our children by raising some of the most powerful, capable, and extraordinary children imaginable. We're going to rise as a community by committing to teamwork. We're going to rise by reclaiming our educational value system. We're going to rise by reclaiming our politics. We're going to rise by reclaiming our economics, so that a lot of your kids will never have to work. It's very easy. If you plan for your child from birth, I don't care how poor you are. You hanging with Dr. Boyce, I got you covered. You hang out with me. I can make sure that your kids never have to work for anybody their whole entire life. I don't care how much money you make right now. If you just do some of the basic things that we talk about here, your kids will never ever have to work for anybody. So, and I don't even, I'm not even racially biased in terms of sharing the information. I talked to a white kid the other day, and he was a nice kid, and he wasn't into some white supremacy stuff. He asked an honest question of me as a finance professor, and I told him, I said, here's what you do for your unborn kids. Start investing for them now, and your kids will never have to work for anybody. Just be consistent. About $35 a week in the stock market in the S&P 500. I even told them what to buy. I told them things like SPY, Victor, Oscar, VOO, things like that. Just do that consistently and don't sell those assets. If you do that, then your kids will never have to work for anybody. They'll love their dad forever. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And I'm supposed to have a guest pretty soon. Tiara KJ Williams, a.k.a. Miss Black Hollywood, is supposed to join me. Hopefully, Tiara will get her butt up in here so we can go ahead and get it cracking. And I'm even going to check my email to make sure she got the link and stuff like that. And I'm going to tag. So literally, I might be typing like, "Did you get the link?" All right. So anyway, how many of you heard about this actors strike? Did anybody see this in Hollywood where there's a strike where the writers and the actors are all pretty much walking off the job right now? It's really interesting. It's intriguing to watch. There are a lot of economic lessons to be learned from watching this. I'm all for the guilds and the unions and everything. I believe in unions. I think America needs more unions because unfortunately the corporations have been absolutely killing poor people. They've been killing working class people. The average wage of the American worker in real terms, when you discount for inflation, has actually been going down. It hasn't been going up. And at the same time, CEO pay has just gone crazy. CEO pay, I could probably show you guys a chart of this. I'm gonna try to find one real quick. CEO pay has every year just literally skyrocketed. In fact, I'm looking at an article here from the Economic Policy Institute. Listen to this. This is for Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, and people like that. Bob Iger came out and said, that something about the writers were being unreasonable in their demands. Well, let me tell you a little bit about CEO pay. So I'm reading this article, and it says, somebody said you got the 4K cam out tonight, Lance. You like the camera, Lance? Am I shining, Lance? Do I look good? What you think, Lance? Am I looking all right? It's better than old dusty stuff I normally have, right? So I told you I was trying to step up my game, right? What do y'all think? Give me a yes if you think it, if you notice a difference here. Anyway, I'm playing. I'm being silly. All right, so here Bob Iger was talking about workers or the writers and the actors guilds being unreasonable in their demands, which is certainly possible. But this is what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of bluster, a lot of talk. Well, let me tell you, according to the Economic Policy Institute, CEO pay has skyrocketed 1,460% since 1978. 1,000, did y'all hear me? 1,468, 60% since 1978. That's insane. That is insane. CEOs were paid almost 400 times more than a typical worker in 2021. This is ridiculous. Now Erlen says flush the toilet. What do you mean flush the toilet? Is the toilet, does it, y'all hear a toilet? Let me know if y'all hear a toilet. I hope I'm not sending a toilet sound out here. Anyway, so according to this report, it says corporate boards running America's largest public firms are giving top executives outsized compensation packages that have grown much faster than the stock market and the pay of typical workers, college graduates, and even the top 0.1%. In 2021, we project that a CEO at one of the top 350 firms in the U.S. was paid $27.8 million on average. This 11.1% increase from 2020 occurred because of a rapid growth in vested stock awards, using a different granted measure of CEO pay, which counts the value of stock awards and options when announced. Average top CEO compensation was $15.6 million in 2021, or up 9.8% from 2020. So basically, Hollywood is part of a broader American cultural phenomenon where rich people are just hoarding up all the wealth, and luckily, for us, I'm an expert on rich people. Like when you study finance, all you do is you study money. You understand where the money's at, who has the money, how they got the money, where the money's flowing, and so understanding these insights will hopefully help you understand why I am so adamant about making sure that Black people that want to have upward mobility become investors. The people that are making all this money, they're making this money because they're investing in the stock market. They're making this money because they're starting businesses. They're making this money because they're invested in real estate. And that is, those are just a few ways that people end up making money without working. So ultimately, this is not going to stop. I don't think it's good for America. I think that we should respect our unions a lot more than we do. And so generally speaking, I support the unions, right? Now, here's what I wonder about. Here's what I think is going on, to be honest with you. Give me a yes if you have seen how much artificial intelligence has impacted damn near everything that's happening in our society. Give me a yes if you have seen the impact that AI and Chat GPT and all these other technologies have had, on the ability to do damn near anything. It's been massive. It's been absolutely massive. And if I'm a writer in Hollywood, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking to myself, "Holy crap! If they get this AI up in here, and then they get the AI that not only can write a script, an AI literally, if you go to Chat GPT and you say, write me a script about a boy from the hood who meets his mentor at church, and then in the second scene gets a girl pregnant and then decides to drop out of college so he can pursue his dream of being in the NFL. Chat GPT is on it. Chat GPT can write that script for you and do it in a matter of seconds. And they don't just do it very quickly, but they do it pretty well because everything's formulaic these days. Everything's a formula. The human brain can be hacked. That's why Elon Musk is designing brain chips and all this other stuff, because human beings can be hacked. And not only is the AI writing the scripts, but they can do the art, beautiful artwork. The same animation that Walt Disney used to pay, animators tons of money to do. ChatGPT can do it in its sleep, and it can do just as good of a job. If you say, paint me a picture of my grandma and make it look like a Rembrandt, ChatGPT can do a pretty damn good job. If you say, give me a photo that is that looks like it's an award-winning, an award-winning photo of World War II, it can do that. And the reason I know it can do that with certainty is because someone did that. They created an AI photo, they entered it into an international photography contest, and the AI photo won. He didn't tell anybody that it was AI. The AI photo ended up winning. So this was an example of how AI is just everywhere, right? And here's the thing that you got to really think about, and because I think this is the number one variable for the writers. I think this is where the writers get quote unquote unreasonable, right? I'm not going to say that they're being unreasonable. I'm saying that I'm using air quotes, right? Um, I think where they're getting unreasonable is because they're probably telling the studios to do things like literally ban AI from anything that they do. Or if you take my image or my voice and you cannot have any digital rights to use my image or my voice in perpetuity, right? So the studios are trying to get over. The studios are probably saying things like, we can take your picture or get your video and use your likeness and your name and your voice and your image forever and never pay you another nickel. That's a big mistake. I think that an episode of Black Mirror really highlighted that. If you watch Black Mirror, it's a great show. They had this one episode called Joan is Awful. And in that episode, they literally illustrated what would happen in the world if you had a scenario where suddenly AI was hold on. Tiara says she didn't get the link. I'm gonna send it to her one sec. Do me a favor while I do this, while I invite my homegirl in here. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I really want to invite my friend in here. So if you will allow me the chance to send her this link, because I need her to come up in here, because Tiara is an OG in the acting space, but she's a young OG, so she's not an old G. She's just just a Black woman who has some experience. So she's seasoned in that way, but seasoned in a good way, right? And she's right in the middle of the Hollywood mix, and so she's going to come in a second. And also, I'd like to ask you all if you could support a Black-owned business for me. We have Aisha Verzi is a financial planner who is a supporter of this podcast. And she can help you with all your financial planning needs and stuff like that. She'll give you that one-on-one attention that you're looking for. So if you're looking for things like life insurance and things like that, Aisha's your girl. So hit her up. Her number, let me give you her phone number. Her number's on the screen. Is 626-340-5746, 626-340-5746. Tell her that Dr. Boy sent you. And also, you can find this podcast on Spotify. If you can she help with the trust? I believe that she can. Detroit Softball. And here's the cool part about Aisha is she'll give you a free consultation. So you can just call her number. She gave her number, and I said, when you do know what's going to happen when all these people get your number, and she's okay with that. So shout out to Aisha and all the other people that are willing to help our people with their finances. And she's a friend to the Black Business School. And if you would like to have us shout out your Black-owned business and give you the visibility that comes with this space, just go to drboysfinance.com, drboysfinance.com. All right, so let me see here. Let's see. I'm looking at some of your comments as we move forward. Someone says they want to use actors' likenesses in perpetuity. Yeah, they do, WJ. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I think that's kind of foul, right? If I'm an actor, I'd be like, oh, Hilton and all. I think we need to negotiate that. I don't think that the actors and the writers are going to get what they want. I think AI is too tantalizing for these corporations for them to really negotiate in good faith. I would not be surprised if the big shot CEOs and the studio heads are thinking about how many billions of dollars they can save and how many headaches they can remove by replacing some of these arrogant actors and writers and directors with AI. I'm not saying that all writers and directors are like this. I'm not saying that I don't support their cause. I completely understand their plight. But one thing I noted, I learned when I read this book. I tell you guys about this book all the time. It's called An Empire of Their Own: How the Jews Invented Hollywood. And as you know, Hollywood is, it's heavily Jewish, and it's not anti-Semitic to say that. It's just true, and it is because they were incredibly industrious and intelligent about creating an industry that they control. I think Black people should do the same thing. I think you can learn from that community. Anyway, one thing I noticed was that there was this irritation that that some of the executives had with actors and directors. They felt that they were arrogant. They would cop an attitude. They would, this person that you scooped up off the street and made them into a movie star. Suddenly they're not taking your calls anymore. Or they're making these unreasonable demands, and that can happen. I mean, I've seen that happen before. And I've seen it happen even under my watch. When we do stuff with Fly Nubian Queen, I was letting people just use the platform for free. I said, look, if you have talent, you can go on the platform for free. Well, there are a couple of people who took advantage of that. And then they went back and they were saying, Dr. Boyce never paid me no money for going on his platform. And I'm like, but we never talked about money. That's a completely unmonetized platform. There's no money being made from any ads on that platform. So what money did I ever promise you? But so you're getting mad at me over money I never promised you? Oh, I get it now. You didn't have any followers before, and now you got a couple people checking for you on the internet, and then suddenly your ego gets bigger than this damn house. Suddenly, you the shit, you're the it girl. You're the one who everybody wants to see. You've got all your adoring fans, and you just kind of become the biggest asshole on the planet, which makes me not even want to work with you no more. So if you ever hear people yapping on the internet, Dr. Boyce is mean, Dr. Boyce is mean, you're damn right I'm mean. When you start acting like a jerk, I don't want to be around you. I don't want to be around people that treat people badly, right? So anyway, I think Tiara was up in here. She's giving me the black fist in the back. I'm gonna try to pull Tiara in the stream without messing it up, because a lot of times if I do that, I just end up messing everything. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see. Okay, T, I'm gonna hit this button. All right, so y'all might see 3 voices on the screen. Look at that. Y'all gonna see 3 voices. Let me see if I can turn that into 2. Let me see if I can do this right. All right, so let's see. Okay, I got the solo, and then I'm gonna pull Tiara up solo. Let me see if I can do it like this. Okay, that ain't gonna work. Nope, that's too many voices. Okay, we did it before, right? I remember we did it before. So anyway, let me, I think I know what I can do. I know what I can do. Hold on. I think I got this. Hold on. All right, so I'm gonna do this, and then there's gonna be me and Tiara kind of, and then we're gonna do that. There we go. But that don't even look right. That's like,
that looks weird. I'm not
sure. It's so weird, right? It's so weird.
Like you all over my face.
Let me try it like this. See that even that don't make no sense. See, y'all see what I'm. This is why me and technology, man. To me, what's up, T? How you doing, girl?
Good. How you doing?
Good to see you. I'm doing good. So, Miss Black Hollywood. Okay, we're sitting here and we're just all chopping it up about this writer strike, and the Actors Guild apparently has joined the writer strike, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and so what does that mean? What is the environment right now out there in LA?
Well, I'm live reporting from Hollywood, where there are but there are picket signs. There are, depending on where you are. I know in Burbank, like near the studios, there are writers everywhere with picket signs on the front lines, just trying to, fight for their rights, obviously. I am also a writer, so I'm also technically on strike. But I have not been out in picketing. I have not yet, because I've been just paying attention to the news, and it's actually been kind of scary. Like, this whole situation is kind of scary. I mean, to say the least. Like, everything is shutting down. Like, I heard some executives, or I read somewhere that some of the executives were even saying that, and we're not getting into this conversation yet. I don't know, but some of the executives were saying that they were basically going to stall the writers out for months until they didn't have anywhere to live, or they were out of house and home, and then and then that's how they forfeit. So I don't know how long this battle is going to last. Like, it's real in these streets, boys.
Yeah. I totally understand that, because I understand business and capitalism and wealth and money. And one of the things I can say is that I think writers should be concerned that effectively what has happened is that the emergence of AI, in my opinion, it's almost like having a billion super smart immigrants that are willing to work for 1/50th of the pay,
Yeah.
right? And then on top of that, you've got real human beings out here that will be more than happy to step across that picket line and take your job.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that the people that have these roles are not uniquely talented. They're extremely good at what they do. But if you get into that business of what Hollywood seems to want to do, which is to, create great content that gets eyeballs and is effectively monetized, well, you got people on YouTube that can bring you millions of viewers. You get a YouTube influencer, teach them how to write, direct, and act or whatever. Get a Mr. Beast and give him a movie deal. You
Yeah.
got an instant blockbuster every time he makes a movie because Mr. Beast shows you on YouTube. He gets 100 million views a year on YouTube and making very good content. Why can't he be somebody that you bring in, or Jake Paul or somebody? Why can't you bring those people in and still get it done? I mean, they can't make Disney movies and all that, and I know that it's more complex than the way I'm describing.
Because it kind of minimizes what we've all
Yeah.
worked so hard for. I listen to that perspective and it's almost insulting. Not saying that I'm insulted by what you just said, but I do feel like literally I took my first acting class at 13. Like, you know what I mean? Like I see the women online and I see them working, but it's just it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. And people have literally dedicated their lives to learning these crafts and working hard and going to school and taking it seriously. It's like tossing them out for a Mr. Beast or for, or even being considered. I was talking to a friend yesterday, even being considered. Sometimes I look at some of the artists that are online and they're being considered as like singers and rappers and actors and artists, but they really didn't earn that. They just, so, I just feel some type of way about it, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's and I definitely don't mean to insult anybody with that time because I've spent time in LA and we you and I've worked on projects in LA and I remember walking back from as a businessman from that perspective thinking, okay, the universe is off balance here. And the reason I felt like it was off balance was because I said there's so many super talented, super amazing, super hardworking people who I don't even know if they understand their value.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I really just kind of like when I'm looking at some of these actors and actresses I've seen, you'll have some drop dead gorgeous person who can memorize these big old scripts.
Yeah.
Will go to the set and work 14-hour days, and just act with perfection, with this trained craft. And I always found it astonishing that they don't understand how that they possess so many transferable skills that they can utilize in a really effective way outside of the grips of Hollywood. But there's something about the allure. You and I talked about this. There's something about the allure or the dream. Like I see myself on the big screen in Hollywood. So if I succeed somewhere else, I still haven't fulfilled my dream. I might make money, I might be famous, but it ain't the same as me being in a Warner Brothers blockbuster. What do you think about it?
It's not the same. It's not the same. I literally just posted something to that effect on Facebook, and I was just saying that basically from teenage years, I mean, real artists, right? I grew up watching a lot of it's so funny, the screen voice just.
I know. I'm messing around with my camera angle.
The other one. This one is distracting.
You want the other one? Okay. I'm gonna put you up there by yourself. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, okay, there's that. I was just basically saying, like I said before, I took my first acting class at 13. I saw Angela Bassett in What's Love Got to Do with It when I was 13 years old. And I'll never forget, I looked at her and said, I want to do that. I'm not sure what she, I couldn't articulate the feeling of what she was doing and how it exactly made me feel, but I knew that I wanted to do it. This is before the days of like being famous. I didn't see them as famous. I didn't see them as brands. I didn't see them building empires. I just saw talent, right? Mm. So it's like, there wasn't paparazzi and people stalking them. It wasn't what it is today, right? And so you just look and you say, hey, I want to take my talent and I want to work like Angela Bassett worked, right? and it never leaves you. Literally, I've said that same thing since I was 13. So we've had conversation, you and I, about the internet. And I was like, Instagram and TikTok are great. And I understand how much money people make and all of that, but something about that still doesn't give me, it feels like a watered down version of what I wanted when I was 13.
Mm.
And
You
so,
know, yeah, and I totally get that. By the way, I'm speaking with Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood,
yeah.
and you're watching DrBoysTV.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I'm going to put Tiara's Instagram up here so everybody can follow her on the gram. And so that's going to be up there. Also, if everybody could take a minute, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also, do not forget that you can go to boycewatkins.com and you can learn about a lot of things we have going on in the Black Business School, some other places. So feel free to connect with us that way. And also, this podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up my name on Spotify, you'll find it there. So, Tiara, one thing that was going through my head was, is what you said earlier about the studios starving out the actors and just kind of saying we're just going to wait you out, and people don't know that that's a negotiating tactic. Like if you read a book on negotiation, you'll find that one of the things that they say is that the person who can be the most patient wins. Like, the person who's like, that's why they say if you go buy a car, you should never be in a rush to buy the car. You should say, oh, I got time. I don't need a car. I don't know. My wife don't even want the car. Like, you have to do that. If the person who was willing to walk away from the negotiation is going to win, and even in a relationship, if you're the person who's desperate, you're going to always concede power to the person who's not desperate, the person who's got options, the person who can take it or leave it. If you're like panting and chasing somebody down, then that's weakening your negotiating power. That's why Black people don't get anything from the Democrats, because we're very desperate and we do whatever they tell us to do, and we don't sort of show a willingness to walk away or to just say, well, we don't need to vote in this election. We can vote in 2028. We don't have to vote in 2024. Like, you know what I mean? We could approach that, and that would make them more eager to do what we need them to do. So the same thing is true here. I could see the studios doing to actors what the NBA owners did to the players 25 years ago. A lot of y'all may not be old enough to remember this, but a lot of people don't that are old school, that are basketball fans will remember this. Give me a yes if you remember this. Kevin Garnett, when he was 17 years old, signed this enormous contract that was an unheard of amount of money back then, like $20 million a year in like 1997 or 98. It was crazy because back then people were making 3, 4, 5 million a year. They literally signed him to almost 20 million a year. And everybody was so pissed. They were like, wait a minute, we can't pay our players this much money. So the owners did a lockout, which is which is when the owners go on strike. People don't know that the boss can go on strike too. The boss can say, look, I'm shutting it down. I'm not going to even run this business. So ain't none of y'all going to have a job until you come to me with some terms that make sense, right? Because if owners just give in to workers, they're going to lose money. They're not going to be profitable in the business. They'll go out of business. So the owners did a lockout. And I remember watching this whole strike lockout take place. The owners kicked the asses of the players for two reasons. One, David Stern, the commissioner, negotiated on behalf of the owners against the labor union. And what he basically told the owners is that every single vote, you have to be 100% unanimous. No matter what the vote, whatever we do, we got to be unanimous. So we have a unified front. Learn something from this, Black people. But then the players were not unanimous because the players all had diverse interests. You had some players like the Michael Jordans who had money to burn. They could wait as long as they needed to. Then you have some guys that were living paycheck to paycheck. They were like, man, I'll take any deal. I just got to get back to work. Yeah. So that created one problem. The second thing that the owners did, and the owners were like, we could wait all day. We don't care. We can just leave. How about we just leave the league shut down for another year? I'll go on vacation. I'll be on my yacht until we decide to figure something out. So what happened eventually was that the players gave away so many concessions that it literally has had an impact for the last 30 years. Like when LeBron James came into the NBA and he was one of the best players in the league, he was making like doo-doo money because one of the things they negotiated is like if you're in your first, second, or third year, you have to get a rookie deal. You can't get the amount of money that you're worth. If LeBron had gotten what he was worth, he would have signed a $100 million contract coming to the NBA, but he didn't. He got little baby money because that was what they negotiated. So I think that the studios are going to do the same thing to the writers and to the actors that the NBA did to the players. What do you think?
I agree with you. Unfortunately, like there's just so many moving parts in this situation, right? Because, like you said, there's a lot of there are working writers who've been working forever, and then there are staff writers, people like myself who are freelance who just write when someone when I'm commissioned to do so. So it's there are people definitely willing to say like, hey, listen, I can set up some meetings now, nobody's working, let's just work something under the table. So I don't think, even though I believe that we have the power, because here's the thing about what you just said, if the players would have decided to walk away, all of them, the NBA would have had a problem. Like if they would have decided to stand together, there would have been a problem. With the actors and writers, they seem pretty unified at this point. I'm not sure what that'll look like in a few months. It's already been 2 months. Um, it's already.
I'm laughing. Y'all,
like,
we got some comedians up in here. Chris
I see.
Fuller said,
like, wait, what? Like,
I have roaches in my apartment that write better stories. I think I'll have them submit stories to Hollywood. Listen, and then Elizabeth said, she said Tyler Perry is the only one who's going to be producing movies because he writes and plays all the characters.
That's correct. Listen, Tyler is gonna keep a job, honey.
Tyler gonna keep it moving. What
do
you think? I mean, how do you think? How do things differ? You tell me about this in the acting space. Like, how do things differ between like Hollywood actors that are all SAG and all that? But I remember seeing a lot of actors who are not part of the union. Like, does that mean that all these underground productions or these non-union productions are going to suddenly get a lot of opportunity, or it does just mean the studios are just not allowed to touch any of that, or how does that work?
Yeah, at this point, they cannot. Technically, they're not supposed to. So with them being shut down, SAG shut down, the WGA, nobody is moving. Productions, like the bigger production companies, have made decisions. Their CEOs, a lot of them have decided to just like stand in solidarity with the actors and writers. So it's a more of a personal choice, right? But you still have that decision. Nobody's going to come and beat down your door and say, are you writing the script right now? Nobody's going to do that, right? You can still move, but you can't do anything major at this moment.
Okay. All right. So everybody do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm speaking to Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. We're talking about the Hollywood writers strike and what's going to happen there. You can follow Tiara at Miss Black Hollywood. And those of you who are looking for me on Instagram, you're not going to find me at the Real Boyce Watkins anymore. The Instagram police came and got me. So if you'd like to follow me on the gram, you can follow me at the Black Financial Channel. I don't even want to talk about it. It's too. It gets on my nerves too much. So you just keep on moving. You just deal with it and keep moving. So follow me at the Black Financial Channel. And also one thing you can do that's not Instagram dependent. This is really important for us to be disconnected from these platforms. Is if you want me to send you Dr. Boyce profit alerts, I can send you stocks that I recommend each week. I recommended one this morning. Just text the word stock to 31996. I'll also send you the $5 a day investing plan, a training on how to make money without working, and a list of AI stocks that will help you make money. Because Tiara, AI is kind of the elephant in the room with all this. Have you had a chance? I know you're a writer, and I know that you are an artist to the extreme. But have you had a chance to kind of mess around with AI and just kind of see like what kind of script can this thing write? Like what do you like? What were your thoughts when you kind of checked out what was going on with AI?
Of course, I definitely have. I think that AI is obviously the technology is very new right at this moment, especially for screenwriting. I thought that the things that it wrote were very surface level. It was very, it's robotic. There wasn't much subtext. Nothing was deep. It was like, so I have played around with it, but I think it's great for like ideas, right? I think it's a great idea generator. Boys, you're killing me with this angle.
Focus, girl, focus.
It's a great idea generator. For me, if I choose to use it, it's great for description. If I'm like, oh, help me write some of the description, it's great for that. But in terms of like dialogue and all of that, you still want it to have a human touch. I still want it.
I'm gonna read something to you. Did you hear what Disney CEO Bob Iger said about the strike?
What
He
did he
said
say?
he said that the writers and actors are not being realistic. He said it's
Oh,
very disturbing. So let me read some of this to you. During an appearance on CNBC's Squawk Box on Thursday morning, Disney CEO Bob Iger said that the writers and actors unions going on strike in Hollywood are not being realistic with their expectations.
yep.
Speaking to CNBC's David Faber from the Sun Valley Conference in Idaho, Iger commented on the ongoing Writers Guild of America strike and imminent decision for SAG AFTRA to join them. Quote, it's very disturbing to me. We've talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges we're facing. The recovery from COVID, which is ongoing, it's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption, Iger said. I understand any labor organization's desire to work on behalf of its members to get the most compensation and be compensated fairly based on the value that they deliver. We managed as an industry to negotiate a very good deal with the Directors Guild that reflects the value that the directors contribute to this great business. We wanted to do the same with the writers, and we'd like to do the same with the actors. There's a level of expectation that they have that is just not realistic. And they are adding to the set of challenges that this business is already facing that is, quite frankly, very disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
It's a very different business than it was just 10 years ago. With the internet and with streaming and just all of these variables, it has really changed the game. Like, you could literally work on a show and work on that show and rise in the ranks on that show and, just have an experience and make a lot of money and be able to feed your family and get, residuals from that show and just all of these things. Right now, I feel like those things, all of the technology has kind of cut those things in half. They're not using as many people, but you still have the same workload that those small group of people, I think it's called a mini room, but like they have those small group of people that have to do all the work. So it's just, I don't think that the terms, I haven't seen the terms, obviously I haven't seen the contract, but I don't think it's too much to ask to want to kind of go back to the way things were or the way, the business was built initially, or just try to find a new common ground. They're just trying to find a new common ground that looks like something like it was before without just taking peanuts,
So you think that they are, you think there's a chance that maybe they are being a little unrealistic, or you think that's just studio blubber? They're just trying to negotiate and be the greedy bastards that they are. What do you think?
I mean, I think that there is, like he was saying, they're trying to bounce back from COVID. Streaming is a thing. All of the things, right? I'm sure I haven't seen the contract, so I don't know what they're asking for, but I'm almost certain that it's probably just protecting writers and actors in a way that will still allow them to make money just the right way, just to still be compensated for their work, for their craft, for,
Okay.
I'd have to see the paperwork. I can't even, I have no idea. I don't want to say like, yeah, they being unrealistic. And then when I look at it, it's like, nah, give these people residuals, give them an opportunity to do what, they need to do to earn their money.
Well, I think overall, let me say this. I'm going to give everybody a quick business lesson in case you're wondering how Hollywood makes its money. So in order to answer this question, you know what I did? I asked ChatGPT to give me a bullet point breakdown of how Hollywood makes its money. And here's the first thing it said is box office revenue. Hollywood studios earn a significant portion of their revenue from box office ticket sales. We know this. When a movie's released, a portion of the ticket price goes to the studio. Blockbuster movies with high ticket sales can generate substantial profits. International box office, we know about that. Hollywood movies have a global market, and international box office ticket sales can be significant. Films released worldwide can earn substantial amounts from foreign markets, blah, blah, blah. Home entertainment. After the theatrical release, movies entered the home entertainment market where studios make money through various channels, DVD and Blu-ray sales, digital sales and rentals. With the rise of digital platforms like iTunes, Amazon Video, and Google Play, studios make money by selling or renting movies digitally. Streaming and subscription services. Studios license their movies to streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus, etc., earning revenue through licensing fees or revenue sharing agreements. Pay-per-view and video on demand. Also, they have merchandising and licensing. Successful movies often have a wide range of merchandise associated with them, such as toys, clothing, collectibles, video games, and more. Studios can earn revenue by licensing the intellectual property rights to third-party manufacturers who produce and sell these products. Ancillary markets. Hollywood studios also generate income from various ancillary markets related to the movie industry. Soundtracks. Movie soundtracks and original scores can be sold as albums or streamed. TV rights. Studios can sell the rights to air movies on television, cable networks, or syndication. Airlines, hotels, and cruise ships. Hollywood movies are often licensed for in-flight entertainment, hotel room rentals, and cruise ship screenings, allowing studios to earn additional revenue. Product placement and sponsorship. Studios enter into agreements with brands for product placements or sponsorship within movies. Co-productions and distribution deals. Hollywood studios often engage in co-production and distribution deals with other production companies or studios. These partnerships involve sharing the costs and risks of producing a movie while also sharing in the revenue generated. Syndication and reruns. Intellectual property franchises. The studios strategically develop intellectual property franchises with sequels, prequels, spin-offs, and reboots to extend the life of a successful movie or franchise. This allows them to generate continuous revenue from a popular brand or concept. Woo! And still, you have studios like Paramount that are losing money like crazy. Did you know Paramount lost $1 billion last quarter? Did you know that?
I didn't know it was $1 billion, but I know that they are definitely. I know that it's not back. It's not what it used to be. The business is not what it used to be.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me. I'm looking at this from as a finance professor. I see. I never looked at entertainment from an entertainment standpoint or just a creative standpoint. I respect the creative process. I always looked at it from a business standpoint. I always thought about production, distribution, and monetization. And one of the things I noticed is that Hollywood studios were spending so much money up until about like 2021 or so. It was insane how they were spending so much money, and they would go in debt. I still remember Netflix was making $2 billion a month off its subscriber base, but they still went out and borrowed $14 billion just to buy a lot of content, right? So when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about all the money that is being spent on content, which means all these content creators are just getting paid. They're getting these massive $100 million deals. I think Shonda Rhimes got a big deal, and I'm sure a lot of writers under her are, were getting paid well. And so it just kind of created this really unreasonable economic environment to some extent, because what people also forgot or didn't notice is that a lot of these companies, their stock prices crashed. When the Federal Reserve started increasing interest rates, these companies' stocks were in trouble, and they were getting heat from the shareholders. The shareholders are like, come on, stop building your little Disneyland empires, in terms of like just expanding like crazy and spending our money to do it. You need to cut your costs. Yeah. So as a result, right now, Bob Iger at Disney is cutting billions of dollars in costs. A lot of people saw there was a big talk where ESPN, which is owned by Disney, fired so many people. Yeah. They got rid of so many people. And at the same time, they were getting rid of like 15, 20 different personalities that were on the air. They, at the same time, made an $85 million investment to bring in this former football player named Pat something. And the reason they brought him in was because he had this big-ass audience that he built on YouTube. That's what they were buying. So they didn't buy him as an employee. They didn't buy him for his talent. They didn't buy him for the creative process. They bought him because they were buying his audience, right? So I kind of feel like the dynamics of the industry have just changed. Disney shareholders flat out told them Disney had a loss of 2 million subscribers last quarter because their shareholders said, stop buying your subscribers, stop bleeding money just so you can grow Disney Plus. Netflix, their shareholders said, screw you and your dumbass business model. You need to cut costs and stop paying so much for content. Paramount it's fascinating. Paramount had this massive explosion of not memberships but subscriptions because they had great shows like Yellowstone. Yeah. But what was done, and Wall Street Journal did a deep dive on this. They basically said Taylor Sheridan, who's like one of the biggest writers in the world right now, who has like a ton of shows with them, that he was robbing them blind. He was like, he had like, this dude had like 5 shows on Paramount, and then on top of that, he was going to these other farmers and saying, these Hollywood people are stupid. These studios are crazy. You can rent your horses. We rent my ranch to them for $50,000 a day. I flew in my friend from Texas to come and manage the horses. Like they were, so they basically were critiquing and saying, you're wasting all this money because you're letting Taylor Sheridan do whatever the hell he wants. And that's why you had this subscriber growth, but you lost $1 billion. So that's the backdrop. That's what the CEOs are dealing with. At the same time, they're dealing with writers who probably also became accustomed to a certain level of treatment. And then they're dealing with AI, which is AI's like, we can still do a pretty good job, but you ain't gonna have to pay us nothing. That's a tough one for them.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you sacrifice quality. I'm sure that every writer has not had the experience of a Shonda Rhimes, because, I mean, like, not everybody is rolling in the dough. Everybody doesn't have that same story, because, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not what it is. People are very much going from show to show, working as writer assistants, they're staff writers, they're, making a good amount of money, but like not enough to write home about, like, Mama, I Made It. So I think there's a difference between the people that are on the ground working and like an Oprah Winfrey type, like huge gap, right? So even if I work for OWN and I'm a writer there, it doesn't mean that I'm rolling like Oprah is rolling. I think that's the thing. It is. It's like, that's Made It. When you get to that space where you can call the shots like that, you can have a deal like Shonda Rhimes, like, that's Made It for a writer. Otherwise, you just like everybody else, you just getting up and going to work every day and writing. So that's why I don't know if I don't know if I agree. I haven't seen the contract, but I don't feel like it's probably unrealistic. I feel like the networks or the studios just don't want to do it.
Well, by the way, everybody, if you're watching this podcast, you're listening to Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood, and we're talking about the Hollywood writers' strike and what's going on out there in LA. And if you could take 1 second, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. This is drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people, where we try to give you intelligent content and deep dive discussions on important issues and how they affect our people. Because that's the next topic. I want to talk about Black people and the way Hollywood treats Black people. And I want you to really kind of let us know about that. Also, you can follow Tiara at Miss Black Hollywood. I put her Instagram on the screen. I'm going to leave that on the screen. And also, don't forget, this podcast is on Spotify. And also, because I don't want to depend on Hollywood to pay my bills, we actually have our own independent Black Hollywood. We are making a movie that's coming out this summer called B1 the Movie. We're going to do the release in Atlanta in August. And I think it's going to be at Atlanta's Black Wall Street. Rick Mathis, the director, is working on that right now. And we'd love to have you guys out there. Rizza Islam, he's agreed to come on out. So we're going to get this done, and we're developing and building our own. And what we wanted in this film was the people in our community that we see as our movie stars. And Rizza is in our space as big as Brad Pitt. He's the Brad Pitt of the Black conscious community, because I know how, I'm telling you, Tiara, when Rizza does something, he goes places and people are lined up out the door, down the block, around the corner. Like, Rizza's just, he's a superstar. He's a great guy. There's so many other
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is. Dr. Claude Anderson's in the film. So many great people. So we're making our own movies. We're getting it done, and we ain't striking. We moving forward. So if you want to remain connected, so that we can let you guys know when the film's going to be released, go ahead and text the word stock to 31996. I will send you guys a text message when that comes out. And I don't know why I disappeared, Tiara, but I'll figure out where I went, and I'll bring myself back. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just be the voice of God in the back of the room. All right. So anyway, so let me ask you this. Let's talk about Black folks, and let's talk about how Black people fit into all this, right? Because sometimes when white people start fighting each other, we just we're sitting on the side. We're like spectators or whatever. I don't feel that Hollywood respects black talent or gives black actors and actresses the opportunities that they deserve. I also don't think that black people get represented very well from Hollywood. So I'm looking at a lot of intelligent black folks online that I respect who are basically saying, who gives a shit about Hollywood?
Yeah.
Screw them, these racist SOBs. Why shouldn't people feel that way?
Um, well, I can't, that is a great question, boys.
Mhm.
Because it is a catch-22, right? You do, I mean, I know specifically for me, I came to Hollywood wanting to work, and you are met with resistance. You don't earn, there are black actresses and black writers and black directors who have to lift one another up, who have to bring each other on. They are making tons of movies without black people in them, as we know, or there's not black people on set, or we're constantly fighting for diversity and inclusion. Um, I think like anybody else, you want to be the person that comes to a space and infiltrate it for the better. You want to come and leave a legacy. I know for me, I came here because I wanted to leave a legacy and make films that represented Black people in an amazing way. I wanted to contribute to the narrative. I wanted to be part of, where you could look back and say, this was my stake in that thing. Um, and it is an uphill battle. It's definitely, it's a fight, right? I don't think that actors and actresses and, especially Black creatives are treated the way they should be, but they fight. Because if we don't, and we just say, well, we're all going to leave Hollywood and we're not going to fight in this space, then it's just going to remain, it's a powerful tool. Like television and film is the most powerful thing. Like it could literally, I mean, me and Boyce talk about an empire of their own all the time, where the Jews built Hollywood. We talk about that all the time. And the way that they were able to build it was through imaging, right? Because people weren't checking for Jewish people. When they started Hollywood, there was ways that they were not celebrated in the way that they are now, the Jewish community, the way they saw themselves, the way other people saw them. They used film for that, right? So as a community, I feel like we can do the same thing. We can really change the way people see us. If we do it right, we can change the way people see us and change the way the world sees us through film and television. And that is my
Well, you know what? I want to ask you all in the chat, how many of you could care less if Hollywood burned down tomorrow? Give me a yes if you. I'd be curious to know. Like seriously, I want to. I just want to lay that out there and air that out because I really want to see where people stand. How many of you are just kind of like screw Hollywood? I don't think we need it. If Hollywood disappeared tomorrow, then the world would be a better place. I'm not saying I feel that way.
If your TVs disappeared, everything on it disappeared. Wait, who? Boys?
There's two voices. You gotta. I'm messing with my technology.
Okay, I cannot focus. But if your TV disappeared tomorrow, and you could not watch TV, you could not get any, so you could not go to the movies, you could not see creatives. Let's just put it all out there. You could not see Black creatives, artists do what they do.
I think we're still getting a lot of burn, baby, burn. WJ says burn, baby, burn.
Y'all say that. I
know Chris said he'll bring the matches.
Y'all don't feel that way, Chris. Be quiet.
Said, I don't give a damn.
Lisa.
Let's see here. Love Move says all the people in my house stream YouTube on their TVs. Peachy Trade says I do not like how Black people are portrayed in Hollywood. Let's see here. It's kind of late because the movie industry era is almost running out. That's an interesting talking point. Let's see. Trent Branch says with all the platforms and technology available now, we have so many more tools. Lisa Parker says I would not care. Okay, so
if the streaming services went away as well, because you said if Hollywood went away, listen, Netflix counts, Paramount, Disney Plus, all of that counts. I feel like y'all are capping right now. Y'all fronting, y'all lying. You're lying.
Haters. Just
You're
need
lying.
with your old hating asses. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I think you know, I think that when you talk about the good fight, right? I talked about this today actually. I did a short little video about this topic where I said, you know, when people talk about fighting racism, right? What does that really mean? And the reason I said that is because I want people to take a step back and I want you to think about when you're fighting for something, right? When you're fighting, like if I fight with my girlfriend or my wife, for example, um, what am I fighting for? Okay, I'm fighting for my relationship, right? But what if it's a bad relationship? Like what if it's an abusive relationship? What if I'm not being treated properly, not being respected? She's disrespecting me at every turn. The question then becomes, should I really be fighting for that relationship or fight even engaging with her? And I think that there becomes this fundamental question of whether or not Hollywood even respects Black people, which would say, should we even be engaging with people who don't respect us? You know, like I get it. You know, we make the good fight and we say we're gonna go in there, we're gonna change these institutions, we're gonna bang down the door, and maybe sometimes that does work. But then sometimes, you know, like Dr. King talked about integrating yourself into a burning house.
Right.
You know, like sometimes I can fight for a relationship with a woman, and that woman might be the worst thing in the world for me. And I can just say, as Black people, I don't think we've been treated very well by white folks. And Hollywood just pisses people off because sometimes the shit that comes out of there is just ridiculous. And you've seen that. You're a Black actress. You know what I'm talking about when they want you to play these racial stereotypes, or you have somebody that wants to help you in your career, and then one day he decides to pull his junk out, and because he expects to be taken care of in a certain way, right? You run into a Weinstein as opposed to an opportunity. I just really kind of debate that in my head. Like, is that even worth fighting for? You know, maybe the best way to combat the system is to create a different system. Like you know, like as much as we might critique Tyler Perry for all the Medea dresses he wore, and because Medea built that whole studio brick by brick. She put on that Medea dress, and she built the everything that Tyler got. Right? Let's just be clear. But he's a guy that did things differently. He has an independent Black ownership sort of mindset, and it's almost like he seems to at least communicate on some level that he has this space where he's operating, where he doesn't have to live under the rules of Hollywood. He's able to kind of have a little bit of his own space. I don't know how independent it is. Like I don't know all the details of his deals, but it seems to me like Tyler Perry that model might be the best one for Black people. What do you think?
I mean, well, we're about to find out on Medea BET, my BET, my BET. We about to find out because Medea's about to, baby, she about to be on BA. She about to be at Viacom like, hello. Like, there. I respect Tyler Perry. I think, he is a trailblazer. He is an ideal situation for us. He is, right? Do I love all of what I see coming out of his studio? Um, no, I don't.
None of us do.
But he has an audience, and what it's like. Sometimes I feel like with situations like that, you want to produce quality content. I know for me personally, like when I start working in television and start working on some of the bigger shows and working in reality and all of that, I wanted to work on shows that were weren't like the Chitlin Circuit. I mean, not saying that. I mean, obviously, Chitlin Circuit becomes Tyler Perry, so I'm not saying that. But I did want an experience where, the person that was directing wasn't also the person in front of the camera, which also wasn't the caterer on the side. Like I wanted a full experience. And unfortunately, I'm not saying that Black people don't support Black people. I'm not saying that because Tyler Perry is obviously like, it shows that Black people can support each other. But the other Black creatives that have gone off and tried to do Tyler Perry formulated kind of things have not been as successful because people won't come out and support. They would rather go see a Disney movie or, they just kind of wave it off. So we run to where the money is. Or if a black company comes to me and says, "Hey, can you write something?" Somebody came to me not too long ago and was like, "Hey, listen, can you write something for me? I'll pay you $5,000." Right? Um, if I could take that same screenplay and sell it to Hollywood for $200,000, right? I'm not saying you know what I mean? Like we go after the big where the money is, while also trying to make an impact. So I think that's just the harder part. It's harder to build. It's harder to build when um everyone isn't on the same page. Everyone isn't thinking like we need to support Miss Black Hollywood because she could be our next Tyler Perry. People kind of wave you off. Like they wave you off. They don't come to your shows. I mean, we produced stage plays and had 15 people in the audience, but we still gave them, like we tried all the things over the years. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody doesn't become Tyler Perry, is all I'm saying. So,
well, you know what? And I do agree with that, right? I mean, you know, if you watch things, I know that one issue Alicia has with shows like Meet the Browns and stuff like that is, let's just be quite honest, they lean heavily on these highly dysfunctional stereotypes of black people. I mean, stuff where you're like, oh Lord Jesus, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
And and in defense of Tyler, Tyler makes the argument that these are the people he grew up with. These are the types of characters that he saw as a kid. I get that, but it's like, come on, man. Your whole life wasn't, sort of, filled with cartoon characters. Like, I mean, you've got to let black people have their humanity back. And and I say that with trepidation, and not even trepidation, hesitation, because when I did meet, that I met Tyler, and when he called me, and he was so nice. And when I went to his studio, and I was so inspired by his commitment to great black artists of the past. Like this guy was just what the doctor ordered in terms of like reaching out and elevating careers of people like Cicely Tyson and others, and showing them that respect. And then he also did a great job of mending relationships with people like Spike Lee. I remember Spike being invited to his opening of his studio, and I thought that tells me he's a guy with a good soul, right? And I respect that immensely. So I think we can be honest in our critique without necessarily just being harsh about it, right?
Yeah.
At least I don't feel compelled to do that. But I do think at the same time you have to ask yourself, why would the Tyler Perry stuff kind of rise, in our community? It's one thing if it's what white folks are doing, right? It's another thing if that's what we're doing, and why we won't sort of support those other people that are doing something different from a Tyler Perry and reflecting blackness and all of our humanity and all of our complexity. At the same time, the onus is also on the creator to be able to structure the proper business model that really fits their audience. As much as we give Tyler some degree of credit for his creative ability, right? He goes in the writer's room and does whatever, but honestly, he does it in a way that some people consider to be janky. Like he'll make episodes much faster than most people. He pays a lot less. He'll go in the writer's room and come out and be playing 8 characters, right? Just stuff that's just like very taboo. And when he and I actually talked about that. He said, I never went to film school. And I said, that's probably your greatest strength, because you're not constrained by the procedure of how things are supposed to be done. Tyler's genius is that Tyler knows how to break the rules when they can be broken and still achieve the damn goal. He's like, if anybody who watches football, if you ever watch Patrick Mahomes play at quarterback of the Chiefs, the reason he's a great quarterback is because he can do things that other quarterbacks can't do, and things that other quarterbacks aren't supposed to do. He can twist it. He can run this way, twist his body that way, and then flip the ball this way, like do this weird stuff. And people are like, you're not supposed to do that. That's not what a quarterback does. But that's what makes him hard to stop, because he can solve a problem that way. So with Tyler, that's what I see. I see him as a guy that's like more of a businessman than he is a creator.
Yeah.
Right. He understands. He said, okay, this is my demographic. This is what they want. I keep feeding them with a big dose of Medea up in the middle. Medea is my $1 billion cash cow. He's Walt Disney. Medea is his Mickey Mouse.
Indeed. She's went to prison. She's went to
Medea done did it all.
Medea has gone right to the funeral. She did, and then at some point he was double dipping. Like, so you would go to the play, and then let me tell you, y'all. I gotta tell y'all this real quick. I went to a Tyler Perry premiere. It was a play. It was a play, and it was a long time ago. But the play was the play, right? But it wasn't about the play at all. What I realized is that he was sending troops out on the road, like these shows out on the road. And then at the end, this like it would unveil this trailer of the same damn movie you just watched, but Angela Bassett is playing the lead. And then the trailers were really good. So I was in the bathroom after we watched the same play. Went in the bathroom, the girl was like, "Oh, I can't wait till the movie come out." I was like,
yeah, I encourage people as much as I encourage everybody in here, especially those of y'all that have creative gifts. As before you just hate on Tyler Perry, I need y'all to go study him. Like really study why this man is able to be successful at the level that he is. And it ain't because he just got lucky or because he's just cooning out. A lot of it is also because he understands how to build an audience and how to give that audience what they want.
Yeah.
They want Medea. He gives them Medea. And then he mixes in a little bit of family stuff, a little bit of church stuff. He'll cater to Black women because Black women between like say 32 and 45 are the most loyal, most intelligent audience out there that has the most disposable income. Yeah. So effectively, they will come if they like you. They will come see every single one of your movies and buy every single one of your products. So anybody who is a creative that's trying to sort of succeed in that space, I encourage you to take some time and understand business. In fact, I'm gonna go to LA, and you should come with me to the event in LA. I'm going to talk about that. I really think that all those super talented Black people that are in LA trying to figure out the next move, your next move while this strike is going on should be to go to business school a little bit. Maybe join us in the Black business school. You can get started for free and just hang out with us. And I think I could actually explain a lot of this to you so you can figure out where the money resides. So you're not, stuck in this weird purgatory where you're undervalued, underappreciated, not getting what you deserve. Because I see it. When I would go to LA, I remember thinking, wow, these people that are here, they're in an overcrowded space. Mm-hmm. It's like if I'm at a convention, I have a PhD in finance, right? But if I'm at a convention with PhDs, it gets weird. It feels like everybody has a PhD, and having a PhD is no longer a big deal. Yeah. Or if I'm an NBA player and I'm 6'7" and I'm around a bunch of other tall guys, I think everybody's 6'8" and above. You know what I mean? So you have to go into the real world to realize how unique you are. So, when I would see how talented and how smart some of these actors and actresses were, they work harder than me. I was like, ooh, if you just took that same energy that you're putting into preparing to do that script for those people or whatever, and applied that to running your own business out in Connecticut some damn where, you could kill the game and make far more money and have far more opportunities. So I think so. Tiara, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think that maybe this is the call? What do you think about this? I want to call on Black actors, actresses, writers, and directors to study business as much as you study these other things. And then also, or if you have a group of talented people and you make projects together, in that group, don't just have your writers and your actors and your directors. Bring in a marketing person. Bring in a business management kind of person, somebody that can help take this amazing thing you create and put it in a space where it can be monetized and allow you to make money. What do you think about that?
I agree. I think, I have a production company called the Bro Network, and I think we've had to pivot so many times. I think just being flexible, and I'm just talking to creatives, right? Or just speaking in general. We've had to pivot many times where it was just like we couldn't lean so much on this. And I understood that, okay, you can create content, but sometimes you can go outside of Hollywood and create workshops. A couple years ago, I created well, it's about 7 years now. I created a workshop called Create Hollywood Where You Are. And so I used to travel around. I've been to Toronto and Atlanta, and I went to Miami and Minneapolis and all these places. And I had these workshops. And then we did, and then at some point, people were like, hey, you write. Can you write my book? And so I ghost wrote for a little while. And then, like, so it just really depends on, I think you can definitely make money, right? Outside of whatever it is that you are doing creative, whatever it is that you are doing outside of Hollywood. If you're just a little creative, you can really figure out how to make that work for you. You can, figure out how to make that talent mainstream. And like you said, help people outside of Hollywood, because people are enamored by this place and they want to be part of it, and they want to feel like they're connected to, to people in this business. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that is, yeah, I think that's the play. If I was, I don't know. I think regular people are really intrigued with Hollywood. Like, I think the power of Hollywood is that it's seen as this magical place,
mhm,
where these amazing things happen. People get on this big screen and suddenly they become superhuman, in our minds. And I think that can be created in other spaces that aren't so crowded,
yeah,
and that aren't so racist. There really is a glass ceiling. Ain't never been no affirmative action program in Hollywood. These studios, they just, and the crazy thing is that some of the black people that end up getting these opportunities, they get them because sometimes they get them because they're talented, but sometimes they get them because they were willing to do stuff other people wouldn't do.
that's right.
They were willing to, get on the casting couch, or they were willing to coon out, to get a role, right? And so what unfortunately occurs is that we think that these are our most talented heroes in our community, when actually some of them are the biggest degenerates in our community, and
Yeah,
we end up looking up to a complete degenerate. And then we wonder what's wrong with our community. Well, because the Jewish community was very smart. They realized how powerful media is in shaping the way you view a group of people. They saw
yeah,
this with the way Hitler used media to paint them in a certain way. And I think we get painted the same way. So ultimately, as Black people, I think we have to take control of some aspect of our own media. I pretty much tell the Black folks that are here, identify Black-owned media that you can connect to and support. Like, there's Quayle TV, KWELI, Quayle TV. I don't get to talk about it much, but I met the young lady that started Quayle TV, Tiara, and she literally has. I mean, they got thousands of movies on Quayle TV, good Black movies.
mhm,
We put some of our films on there. I forgot which ones we put on there. Resurrecting Black Wall Street, Democracy, a Black American Horror Story. We put that there, and a few others. And these films, like, she was really sending us like royalty checks,
mhm.
And she does a great revenue share program, and I encourage everybody to look that up. KWELI. I've been a subscriber for years, and I just want people. I think people should know how much talent we have in our community. What
That's
we
right.
don't, the only thing we don't have is we don't have the big marketing dollars, and we don't have the distribution.
Yeah,
But the talent, we kill it on talent.
yeah,
Black
we do
people,
that.
we're the most talented people on the freaking planet. Give me a yes in the chat if y'all agree. Let's just
Hands down.
right, just call right. Yeah, we are so amazing, so extraordinary, and so if we get a business acumen that matches our talent level, we won't be able to be stopped. We will literally like murder the game. So before I let you get the last word, Tierra, I want to tell everybody you're watching drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people, and we're building our own independent Black media. So if you could hit that thumbs up button, that helps us in the algorithm. If you could also make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. Because sometimes I talk extra Black, and that's how you get shadow banned. That's why a lot of y'all don't even know when I go live. So make sure you hit the notification bell. Also, podcast can be found on Spotify if you look up my name. And I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors also, Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club.com. Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club is run by a Black dentist who is a really cool brother who's super smart, who cares about the community, and he has things like bamboo toothbrushes and charcoal toothpaste and things like that. He also has an affiliate program. So if you got friends that like to brush their teeth or don't want to have stinky breath, then you can actually sell his products instead of selling Colgate and Crest and all that. You can sell his products to your friends, and you get a cut of whatever you sell. So that allows you to make money and put money in your pocket. So you can visit drqsfreshbreathclub.com if you'd like to support this Black-owned business. All right, so Tierra,
Yeah.
tell me what's the next move? Like, what's happening, in terms of like Like that's got to be crazy when like you're in Hollywood and you moved to Hollywood to be a part of Hollywood, but Hollywood has shut down. That's got to be scary for you. How does
Yeah,
that feel?
absolutely. It's definitely scary. Sorry, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, well,
It's
I
definitely
guess dinner's ready. Go ahead, sir.
dinner's ready. It's definitely scary, especially since we had different things on the table. There's different things happening, obviously, in my life that now I'm not really sure kind of how things are going to pan out. So I think every time something happens, to this magnitude, because in Hollywood anyway, you're used to riding the wave, the ups and downs, the ebb and flow. You just got to get creative in between. And if you're smart, then you've structured situations that can carry you through the droughts in between the roles, in between the screenplay sales, in between all of that. So for me, I want to. I'm a singer, and so I have been just setting my sights a little bit more on creating content and just kind of moving in another direction for me personally. I mean, creating content in a different way, going towards the internet and, maybe doing that, just trying to build something online as opposed to just wanting to, stay here in Hollywood.
Okay. Well, you know what? Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Hollywood is I think we got to be careful about sort of, having these dreams that are managed and controlled by white people, like where they become the gatekeepers. You saw Ice Cube, he's kind of, he's on this tour where he's rampaging against the gatekeepers. And I like Ice Cube, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in LA, I'd text him and he, we talked a little bit. And, and so I support him 100%. But I did talk about gatekeepers for an hour and a half yesterday on drboystv.com. I broke down what does that really mean when you say you're fighting the gatekeepers? Like, what does that really look like? And who are the gatekeepers? And what's behind that gate that you feel that you have to get? Like, is there not another gate you could go through that doesn't have gatekeepers? I said so. I compared it to like a man chasing a woman. And I remember earlier I kind of gave a similar analogy that if you're chasing a woman and she's really playing hard to get and really hard to obtain, and and then in addition to that, she's very toxic. Like there's literally a book out there called Men Love Bitches, and it's a woman who basically is telling other women that if you are too nice, men won't like you. If you are kind of mean and cold and distant, they're going to really work hard to chase you. Well, that's a mind trick that works very well on stupid little boys. I don't think that works on grown ass men who know their value. I really don't, because if it's too hard to get you to respect me, to love me, to treat me with decency, I'm not going to pursue you. I'm just not going to. I want to be loved. I want to be appreciated. So again, if you go back to the toxic relationship between us and white people, I wonder why we are. We kind of act like Jennifer Hudson did in Dreamgirls. Remember? No, 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 no way. I'm living without you.
Uh-huh.
I'm staying. I'm staying. I
Say what?
want to be free.
Uh-huh.
That's what we do. Like we literally are like, you gonna love me, and I'm gonna march and I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna protest in front of your building until you let me in because I deserve to be in. And it looks pathetic. It looks obsessive. It looks desperate. It's not healthy. It's a mental illness. I don't know. Does anybody else see what I see? So I just kind of think, again, I'm not talking about Cube in this way. I'm not saying. I think that what I believe in Ice Cube, honestly, is that he has the big three league. He's
Mhm.
not getting the support from the NBA that he
Yeah.
deserves, and that's what it's all about. I didn't get a sense that it was about what he was doing with black people, because I saw a whole interview he did with Joe Rogan. I didn't hear any mention of the contract with Black America. I just
Yeah.
heard about the big three, and they talked a little about the pandemic, things like that. So I get it. It's about that money. The white man's always got this little something something in his pocket, and like you talked about that earlier, we go for the money, right?
Mhm.
So I really want people to understand the logic here when I make this point. As long as you're chasing the highest bidder, you're always inherently going to be a white supremacist.
Mm.
As long as you're chasing the money, you're always going to be a white supremacist. Why? Well, because who has more money than anybody on this earth? The white man. He's
Mm.
got more money than we'll ever have. And he can print money. He can go print the shit. That's what he did during the pandemic. They said we need an extra $1 trillion. Turn the printing press on, Bob. That's what they did. That's what they have the ability to do that, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be real careful when you say I'm gonna go for the money no matter what. I'm not worried about whether you're white or black. I'm going for the person with the most money. Well, if white people have the most money, then you're pretty much going for the white guy. That's what's gonna happen, right? It's like if I'm playing basketball and I just say, I don't care what I don't care what race you are or whatever, as long as I just want the tallest players out there. Well, that means that the thing that you're pursuing is going to create other biases that you might not anticipate, right? So what I mean by that is that with black people, one area where I don't think we see our worth is when we just say that all that matters is how much money you're going to pay me. What you're doing is you're neglecting the fact that you should have in your possession something that money can't buy. Like you should have something in your possession that where the white man can't just write a check and come get it. Like he can't
For
just
sure.
come, he can't just come and identify your most talented people and just buy them off, right? Like they can't buy me off. I think I'm one of the smartest, most capable finance professors on the freaking planet.
Hmm.
You can't write a check big enough to get me to walk away from this. They can't. Dr. Watkins, would it cost us $1 billion to get you to sell out? Well, no, you're not. You right. You can write the check, but it ain't gonna. It has no value here. Your money has no value here, and that's one way I keep a leg up on them. I say I got a secret sauce in my space and in my spirit that you'll never understand. I want to be the guy that you cannot buy, right? And so I think that with our healthy attraction to money, we cannot make that attraction turn into an obsession. We cannot let that attraction turn into an addiction. It can't become this thing where money ends up trumping every single thing, including our integrity, because then you end up in a very bad place. So you end up with a whole bunch of money in your pocket, but you don't gave up everything else that matters. It's no different from somebody who says, I want to make money so much that I'm going to ignore my wife, ignore my kids, ignore my health, ignore my relationships. I'm going to do terrible things to people and basically make a deal with the devil. So the devil says, here's your money. And then you look around and your life is a complete pile of shit.
Hmm.
Everyone hates you. You've got all this bad karma. Your soul is toxic. And there's actually movies about that. I told you about Dorian Gray. I know I've told you the Dorian Gray story.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
everybody should watch Dorian Gray. Everybody should watch that movie Dorian Gray because that's all it's about. It's about making a deal with the devil. You getting everything that you think you want, and then you realize that the cost is a little bit too high. And I think black people go through that. I really do. That's why you get these millionaires that want to kill themselves or whatever. They become drug addicts and whatever. I mean, think about that. Whitney Houston lived the dream, but she died, in a bathtub.
Yeah.
DMX lived the dream, but he died at what 45 years old. R. Kelly lived the dream, but he made a deal with the devil, and now he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I can keep going.
Yeah.
We could theoretically talk about Michael Jackson. We could talk about Prince. We could talk about a lot of really talented black people who died young, lost their minds, end up in terrible situations, but they got all the money, all the bread.
Hmm.
So money can't be everything.
It can't be. It can't be everything. But I think that there's something to be said about someone who wants to just work and not have to always. I think for me, it's like as an artist or as a creative, sometimes it is tiring to go out and have to kill everything you eat. And so sometimes that can be tiring. Sometimes, especially when you have other things that are happening in your life, you know, taking a job or wanting to work in an industry and just work from 9 to 5 or just whatever your deal is, right? I just feel like sometimes people don't always want to do that. They don't want to kill everything that they eat. So they're, they might be enticed by a little bit of money, like like if somebody comes to me and say, hey, I'm not getting on the casting couch. There are things that I just have not given into, but I'm saying, um I'm not saying I'm ever going to sell my soul. I'm just saying that if somebody comes to me and says, hey, and they're white and they say, hey, do you want to write this script so and sell it, I'm not gonna be like, no, like I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna write it and then I'm gonna give it to them and then I'm gonna go about my business. You know what I mean? So I just it just really just depends. But equally, I'll do that for Black people. I just see it as a means to use your creativity. Like, it doesn't have to be always so extreme. To me, in my perspective.
Well, I think the key word here is balance. That's it.
Yeah.
Just be balanced and just make sure that as you pursue all these dreams and these extremes in life, just make sure that you always know you're always centered in terms of who you are and what matters to you. And it's got to be something bigger than the money. And I could talk to you guys about money all day. And one of the things I think money should come with like a safety warning, like some, like a drug, you don't use this. If you use this in excess, bad things can happen. Or, when I fly airplanes, the biggest thing we study is how to be safe in the airplane. And then once you figure out how to be safe, you find out that the airplane can take you places that you've never been before and very quickly. And it's a very powerful feeling. But if you get up there and you get all sloppy with it, next thing you know, people are going to your funeral. So just be safe with it. That's it. Just proceed with caution. That's what I say to all Black people as you get on that paper chase. All right, guys. So it is time for us to go ahead and shut it down. We've been talking for an hour and a half. I think it was a good conversation. I hope that you guys appreciate it. I hope that this was something that you benefited from. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and this is Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. You can follow her on Instagram at Miss Black Hollywood. You can follow me on Instagram at The Black Financial Channel. That is my new Instagram page. Make comments in there because I want to know that you guys see me. So if you see it, just hit the like button or say something in there because I want to try to stimulate some good conversation there. I want to make it into a good, intelligent spot for smart Black people. Also, another way to stay connected and also receive a copy of the $5 a day investing plan is to text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. So those of you that are on Spotify, you can hear this, and my name is Boyce Watkins, so you can look my name up on Spotify. And also, if you want my Twitter, it's Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. I have to give out my social media handles because we're making that adjustment now. So I want to say I appreciate everybody for hanging out. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out of here, and we will see you soon. So God bless you guys. Talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.